We've done Premier League goalkeepers, we've done Premier League centre-backs. Today we have got Premier League fullbacks and we will be ranking them in a tier list. If you guys are interested in the goalkeeper and centre-backs ranking video, go to my channel and press the playlist and there'll be all of the Premier League playlists, Premier League tier list playlists. There will be 2 more videos coming after this. There'll be a midfielders and then an attackers Premier League rankings as well. I thought we'd do all of the midfielders together, being centre mid, CDMs, cams, just because lots of centre mids could play as a CDM, whereas not much centre backs could play as a fullback. So I thought we'd do separate videos for fullbacks and centre backs. Now, when I do look at fullbacks, and what I'll be doing when I do decide which tier to put a player in, is I'll be looking, obviously you want to see good pace, respectable passing, dribbling, defending, physical of course, but you want to be looking at the play styles. Maybe you want to see some nice passing play styles, dribbling play styles, even some defensive play styles for the fullbacks. So we will be taking a look at the play styles. Obviously we won't show every single play style for every single player, but that's just a process we'll be doing to have a look at, in my opinion, what will be the best fullbacks in the Premier League. So then this is how the tier list is looking, ranging from avoid being the worst tier all the way up to elite, with very good, good and average in between. Now first on the list is going to be Kieran Trippier. Now he has got pretty poor pace, I believe 64 acceleration, he's got 64 strength, his passing is nice, his dribbling disregarding the agility is pretty nice, but I think the main aspect with Trippier is his passing. And it's a really awkward one because obviously when you're trying to pass with a fullback, lots of the time you want to run up, deliver across, something like that. And the issue is he can't run very fast. He does have the whipped pass, playstyle plus, which is very nice, but still he is not a fullback in my opinion that would necessarily be good or meta. I'm going to put him in average. I will not put him in avoid. I think if you use him correctly, you need a shadow on him. You'll have to deal with the 64 strength, but if you use him correctly and really utilize his passing, he'll be usable, but you can definitely not really debate to put him in the good or the very good. Obviously nowhere near the elite tier, so I think average is a fair tier for Trippier. Moving on, another English right back, and it's a big boy, Kyle Walker. Although his agility and balance isn't the best, he's still got 90 pace. His 66 agility with 69 balance also isn't anything to write home about, but disregarding that, 90 pace, I think 2-star, 3-star, so he's definitely one of the fullbacks that you don't really want to overlap with too much and use him as like a more attacking type of moving to the right wing, back right wing. I think he is solely going to be used as a defensive right back. Obviously he's rapid so he can get forward, but as I said, you don't really want to use him in your opponent's third with his poor skill moves, and he's not the most agile, but he is absolutely rapid. He is forever going to be meta as long as you've got 90 plus pace and respectable defending stats like Kyle Walker. I also think his body type is nice. He's got a jockey play style which is amazing. I'm going to go ahead and put him into the very good tier. Next up we have got Luke Shaw, who is actually similar to Kyle Walker but with like 12 less pace. He's 2-star skill moves, 3-star weak foot I believe, just like Kyle Walker, but he's just a lot more average than him because that pace is pretty important, and Luke Shaw I think is 79 pace compared to Kyle Walker's 90. I'm going to go ahead, I'll put him in good. In fact, Luke Shaw had 76 pace, so even worse than I thought. Next up is João Cancelo. Now, he has made a move to Barcelona. He's still got a Man City card, so I'm not too sure he will be getting a Barca card as well. I'm not sure if the City card will be in packs even just to start the game, so please allow João Cancelo. He might not even be in packs. His City card might be extinct for the whole year, but I thought we'd still do him just in case. Now, the thing is with him is his strength isn't great, and his pace is pretty average. He's got 80 pace. You want a shadow to get that pace up. You get a nice pace boost and defending boost, but you're still going to have to deal with his poor strength. And in that reason, I would put him genuinely in average, but he is lucky because he has got some incredible traits. I believe he's got 6 or 7 play styles. He's got the Trivela play style being one of them. Therefore, I will bump him up to good, and I will put him in over Luke Shaw. Now, we have got Mbabu, not quite as good as he was in the past FIFAs, but he's got pretty good necessities for a right back. Solid pace, good defending, pretty nice physically. He's got the hair trait as well. I'm going to go ahead and I'll put him into the good tier. Next up is Robertson. He looks pretty respectable. He's got some nice well-rounded stats. Similar to Cancelo though, he's only got 65 strength, which means if you do want to really get that pace up, you go for a shadow. You just have to miss out on that strength boost. So physically, he's not quite there. But he does have the relentless playstyle plus trait, which you cannot complain. I'm going to go ahead. I think it's a solid trait. Anyone that's got a playstyle plus is going to be pretty respectable. He's pretty well rounded. If you put an anchor, obviously it fixes his strength a little bit. He may be still a little bit slow for a fullback. I'm going to go ahead and I'll put him into the high end of good. Next up, we have got Alex Moreno, who's got 87 pace. He's actually got some pretty poor strength. I think he's the weakest on the list so far. He's got solid pace, okay defending, pretty solid dribbling. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put him into the low end of good. Rico Henry is going to join him. Rico Henry, also a very similar player. He's fast, his dribbling is okay, but his defense average and his strength, he's also on the weaker side. So I think both Alex Moreno and Rico Henry in the low end of good is pretty fair. Now we have got Semedo. If you guys played, was it FIFA 21? He was an 83 rated right back, obviously when he was at Barcelona, and he was like 20,000 coins until like 5-6 months into the game. He was absolutely overpowered. Sadly, fallen off a little bit since then. He doesn't look bad by any means. He has got the 4-star skill moves and he does have a rapid play style. He's got 83 pace, probably want to go for a shadow or an anchor. It really just comes down to how you want to use him. And this goes for all of the fullbacks on the list, right? If you want to use your fullback as a more attacking player, then you'd probably go for a shadow to get that pace, or a more overlapping player, if you will. But if you do want to have a more defensive, then you'd probably want to up your strength and go for an anchor. So that just comes down to personal preference. But I think Semedo, he looks pretty solid. I'll put him in the good tier. In fact, I'll go ahead and I'll put him over Mbabu. I'd be pretty happy to put it, if we're doing it in order, I'd be pretty happy with this order so far. Wan-Bissaka is a player I've always liked to use on FIFA. He's 6 foot tall. He has got the slide tackle plus playstyle, which is very nice. He's only got 69 strength or something like that, which I was expecting more for a player of Wan-Bissaka's build. But he still looks good. I wouldn't say very good once again, but I'd be comfortable to put him right next to Semedo. If you're doing it in order, it's hard because they are very different fullbacks. You've got a more agile, smaller fullback, but then you've got someone like Wan-Bissaka, who I think defensively, especially with that slide tackle playstyle plus, will be phenomenal. So we'll put him into the good tier. Trent Alexander-Arnold obviously has had to have a playstyle plus trait regarding passing, and I believe it is a long ball pass playstyle plus. He honestly reminds me so much of Trippier, but he looks like a more better version of Trippier. He's like a Trippier with 6 more pace and a little bit more jacked up defending stats and all the other stats basically. We're going to go ahead, we'll put him most definitely in the good tier, not in the very good tier, but I think we'll put him up towards like the top end of a good tier along with Robertson, Cancelo. I think he fits quite nicely there. Next up, we have got Montiel, who looks okay, nothing crazy. He's got a couple, I think he's got 1 or 2 play styles. He's 3-star, okay pace, I believe 83 pace. Doesn't look crazy. We'll go ahead, we will put him into the good tier, and joining him, also someone that looks very similar to Montiel, is going to be Malacia of Manchester United. Very similar, also 3-star. I think he's got like 1 more pace, similar defending physical stats. Are very, very similar. This Reece James, I really like the look of this Reece James, and I'll tell you guys why. In fact, let's switch on over to the footbin view. Assuming you can get him on full chemistry, with a shadow he goes to 88 pace and 89 defending, and he is the first player that you can put a shadow on in this tier list, that you can put a shadow on, and he's actually got good enough strength to hold it as well. Like, he's got 84 strength, 88 pace, whereas lots of the other ones, like, yeah, you can go for a pace boost, but then they'll only have 70 strength, 65 strength. But no, Reece James without a strength boost is still on 84, which allows you to be able to go for that shadow chemistry style on him. He's also got a play style plus for the jockey, which is absolutely incredible. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put him into the very good, below Kyle Walker. Okay, I think Kyle Walker's better, but I think Reece James is more quote-unquote meta than all of the fullbacks in the good tier. Therefore, I think low end very good is very fair for him. Next up, we've got Pedro Porro. I'm going to do 2 in 1 here, Pedro Porro and Reguilon. Now this Pedro Porro I actually think is okay, 71 strength, once again, shadow or anchor, take your pick. He's got 83 base pace. I think he's one of those players, shadow for overlap, obviously anchor for a more defensive fullback, up for you to decide. But I think he looks pretty well rounded. He's got a few play styles about him. I'll go ahead and I'll chuck him bang on in the middle. Or Reguilon, on the other hand, looks a little bit more underwhelming. He looks quite similar to Montiel and Malacia. I'll put him in the low end of good. Gusto coming in with 88 pace definitely means you'll be able to go for an anchor and give his 66 strength a respectable boost. That way, good pace, he'll have 90 plus pace in game, respectable physicals, solid defending, he's got some average dribbling, is 3-star, which is a little bit unfortunate. I think I'm going to go ahead and I'll put him just ahead of Pedro Porro. It's between Pedro Porro or him. You can debate, obviously, the order of a good tier, but I think, like, you know, having Robertson, Trent, Cancelo at the start of a good tier, going down to the lesser value ones, I'm pretty happy with somewhat the order, if you get what I mean. Now, next up, lads, we have got the third Tottenham player. I guess Reguilon doesn't really play for Tottenham right now, but we have got Udogie. Now, he has got 88 pace, which is nice, and you'll definitely be able to go for that anchor to boost up his strength, but I do think 64 composure will be a massive issue with him. He's 3-star as well. I think he's a nice starting left back, so I'm going to go ahead and we will put him just ahead of Luke Shaw in the good tier. Was a newly added icon, or hero, sorry, not an icon, he's a newly added hero. You've got his UCL version and his hero version. I think whichever version you want to choose, I'm going to go ahead and put him into elite. Footbin does give us access to his stats right now, but it does not give us access to his actual play styles. So if he has got really poor play styles or little to none, then you'd definitely want to bump him down. But based on the stats and his height and his body build, I'm pretty confident with putting him in elite. I mean, yeah, just look at those stats right there. Everything is above 82. He looks like the perfectly well-rounded. Obviously, Kyle Walker's got better pace, but I think Riise is better in literally every other stat. Now, I'm not sure what his skills in weak foot would be, but I know Kyle Walker himself is only 2-star, 3-star. He is 6'1", which I like quite a lot. I'd assume he's maybe got a high and average body type. He may have a lean, but either way, I feel like this is going to be this year's Capdevila. And if you guys are from last FIFA, you played last FIFA, you'll know how good Capdevila was. Like, he looks pretty similar, and face stats look solid, but he's got that body build to kind of back it up as well. I think his physical of 87 looks really good. So if you're using him as an overlap fullback, he is screaming out for a shadow. Get his pace up a lot, get that defending. As I said, his physical looks good enough to hold by itself. I'll be pretty confident in keeping this man in the elite tier. Obviously, this is his heroes card. He will have, or his UCL heroes card. His heroes card might be a couple ratings less, like an 85, maybe an 86 rated, but the point still stands, right? I still think you'll be in elite, whether you compare his UCL to his hero. Either way, let me know if you guys agree or disagree with this, but I'm pretty happy with this tier list. Trippier, there is actually no avoid fullbacks in my opinion. Obviously, Trippier just not the fastest, the pace really letting him down. He does have the least pace by like at least, I think, 6 or 7 in this whole tier list. Obviously, I'm pretty happy with this, man. Let me know what you guys would change, but in my opinion, with the play styles, having the important stats, this is my final tier list for the Premier League fullbacks. It's been your boy Davis. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.